Howdy folks, it is Diecastbuffet here again. Martin Truex Jr. obliterates New Hampshire and just destroys the whole field. It is the 2016 Coke 600 but with lobsters. You can go ahead and pre-order that Race 1 diecast. I don't like the paint scheme, but hey, if you're a Truex cat, go ahead and pre-order that New Hampshire Race 1 over there at Circle Diecast. They might offer a 164 race version. Who knows if it gets made? Paint scheme is not really a fan favorite to many, so who knows? But regardless, you can use that promo code Diecastbuffet with their Circle Diecast for your new NASCAR diecast purchases. So, it's time for another spicy take. Oh boy! Woo! Okay, so first things first, Chase Elliott sucks at New Hampshire. Let's just keep it real. Truex they destroyed the whole field, but what I'm going to harp on is the quality of racing. I had very low expectations for New Hampshire, considering, let's just be honest, the next-gen cars suck at short tracks, they suck at flat tracks, and I had a feeling it was going to be exactly like Gateway, and sure, it is. There was a few crashes, spin-outs, or whatnot. That was the only thing that was really interesting. It didn't matter if you had 4 tires, 8 tires, no tires. The 19 car was 2 car lengths ahead of you before they even got to the start-finish line. I mean, that car had just hooked up. Either everyone else was sleeping on the restarts, or that car is just, as Ward Burton would say, it was cheated up. I'm kidding. He had a good car, and he deserved to win this race. What I'm harping about is that New Hampshire absolutely sucks with the next-gen car. I mean, there's just no... After like 10, 15 laps after a restart, it's just pretty much follow the leader. That's what these flat tracks do. I've been saying this, it feels like 100 times. I don't like Phoenix, I don't like Richmond, I don't like Gateway, I don't like New Hampshire. These flat tracks, leave it to the Indy cars. They run great on flat tracks, so how much speed they can carry in these corners. These big, heavy stock cars, you pretty much have a sports car in the Cup Series nowadays. It doesn't race well. If they pulled Martinsville to one race, I'd be okay with it. If they got rid of Richmond, I'd be okay with it. Same with Phoenix. And if they got rid of New Hampshire, I'd be okay with it. I just think, I don't know. I'm not a fan of these flat tracks, dude. It amazes me how they go to a track like Kansas, go to a track like Charlotte, you go to a track like Chicagoland, and you have amazing multi-groove racing. Next gens at Chicagoland would be must-watch TV, in my opinion. Of how worn out that surface is, how great the racing would be. And then we go to a flat track like this where there's next to no passing for the lead. I mean, that's just what New Hampshire's always been. It's never been a fantastic track. Every time we go there, where's the highlight reel? What do they show? Robbie Gordon and Michael Waltrip in, 05 or 06 throwing a helmet? That's it. There's nothing. There's no crazy photo finishes, arguments. There's barely any bulletin board material for New Hampshire because it's always been that way. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. You look at Richmond every year. Well, that's coming up, unfortunately. That horrendous event that's going to be. They show the same 3 highlights. They show Craven, or not Craven, but what's his face? Ricky Rudd and Kevin Harvick. They might show, I don't know, Harvick winning last year because, it was, back-to-back. They regurgitate like the same 3 highlights because nothing happens there, right? I don't know. I mean, I see on the Dale Jr. download how Jr.'s, been very passionate about this, about the drivers in NASCAR. They have to find a way to fix these short track races, or we're not going to have short track racing in the future to the extent that we're accustomed to, because it is right now a dying art in the Cup Series. Let's just keep it real. I see more and more people unhappy with the short track racing, and more people thrilled with the 1.5 mile style racing. I say less short tracks. I mean, you got to do what the cars are capable of doing. I don't think it's horsepower. I don't think it's aero. I think it's the physical mass of the car that is the problem. If you look at the Xfinity cars, they turn so much like the Gen 5s because that's what they're based off of. The car wants to go right, but you're having to force it to turn left, and that creates it just creates a certain style of racing. When you look at the Gen 7 cars, they just hook around these sharp corners, like New Hampshire, like Martinsville, perfectly. That's the thing. It's a certain style of racing. It's a sports car. You can literally look at the chassis of these cars. And in fact, I have one right here. Look, I've took it apart. This is apples and oranges. But I've taken apart Gen 6 diecast, and the complete chassis and the style of the car is completely different than a next-gen one. So, obviously, you have a sports car and in what would be considered a stock car for many years. You can't tell me that is not the reason why these cars don't race well at these tracks. It's a sports car. It's not a stock car. I don't know. I think, in my honest opinion, New Hampshire should be reconfigured. That's just me. If we're going to have next-gen cars for the next 7 years, let's just keep it real. It's extremely expensive to have a brand-new car. They might do next-gen, whatever, 2.0. They might just update a few things 5 years from now. Who knows? But the odds are they're probably going to be around until around 2030. Then you have, of course, the hybrids, electric, all that stuff. So who knows? Who knows? They might time all that together, so it might last longer. Who knows? My point is if we're going to have this style of racing every single year at short tracks and flat tracks, we need to have less of them. Because it sucks. New Hampshire is a great market for NASCAR fans, but to me, what I would do, why don't we turn New Hampshire, this extremely flat track, and turn it into a high bank old Atlanta. It's the traditional oval layout that Atlanta had till, prior to 1996, 95, give or take. That would be interesting. Super high banked corners. You have the high banked straightaways, or maybe you can keep them flat. Who knows? You could have like Dover or Bristol style banking. Heck, even Talladega. Jack up that banking in the corners. That would be really interesting. And I think that would race a lot better with the Cup cars. Let's just keep it real. The Xfinity and Truck Series race a lot better at New Hampshire than the Cup cars, but they don't pay the bills. The NASCAR Cup Series is the ticket. It is the one that gets the grandstands. The fans are really passionate about racing there, so they deserve a race in that region. But if you're going to have this style of car, I don't care what horsepower you put on. I don't care about the underwing. They're talking about a tire test or some short track test. Look, whatever they tried this year earlier clearly didn't work. The broadcast said at Phoenix, Clint Boris, it's so good. It's the greatest out there. Wow, the racing's so good. I seen no difference. And I think this test kind of further validates that they're still having to fix it. If they just reduce the amount of short tracks on the schedule and just add more 1.5 miles, I'm happy with it. I'm a traditional stock car fan, but my love for short track racing, it's in the toilet right now. It's with the Charmin toilet paper bears at this point, because the Cup Series short track racing is dead right now until the next generation car comes around, and maybe it'll be better. I don't know. This might all age like milk. Who knows? But every single time I see one of these flat short tracks or flat tracks, I'm like, okay, this is going to suck. And boy, this race sucked. Not because one guy dominated, but just overall the racing altogether. I've seen Larson dominate at feels like every other racetrack in 2021. But it just, I'm not a fan of flat tracks. I'm just not. If you love New Hampshire, that's great. I'm from Texas. Our track here sucks. I think it should be reconfigured to a super speedway. That's just my honest opinion. But New Hampshire, in my opinion, it's just, if you're going to have it on the schedule and you're going to have this next-gen car for 7+ more years, I feel like they should reconfigure it, because the racing, it just sucks. I'm going to keep it real. It's the same as Gateway. It's the same as Homestead 2002. It's flat. You have heavy cars that don't like to turn, next to no passing. Even Steve Letarte admitted on the broadcast that they've been trying forever to get a tire combination that falls off. It doesn't matter what tires you put on. If you have clean air, you're going to be out front. Naturally, Logano and Larson, they had some clean air, but they couldn't, oust Truex. But regardless, clean air and track position is king. I don't know. I'm rambling, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. This race sucked. I'm going to keep it honest with you. Is it the worst race of the year? Probably not, but I'm so ready for Pocono. How about this? Let's just have 2 races at Pocono instead of New Hampshire. That's just my honest opinion. Thank y'all so much for watching. I know these are spicy opinions that a lot of people are not going to agree on. That's okay. I respect your opinion on this channel. If you love New Hampshire, that's great. It's got great modified racing. I think the trucks ran pretty darn good there. The Xfinity race, without the crashes, it would have been really bland, but the crashes were really interesting, and that mixed it up. These Cup cars, man, get rid of these flat tracks and these short tracks. Reduce them, please. Get Charlotte a second oval date. Bring back the oval at Indy. Chicagoland Speedway. Oh my goodness. Just Homestead could have a second date for all I care. Pocono could have a second date. Dover, freaking Michigan, anything. It's amazing how the pre-2018 schedule would be almost perfect with these next-gen cars. I don't know. What do y'all think? Make sure to comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching. God bless. Diecast Buffet, shining off.